Hello and welcome to Sorted Food. Today's theme is all about fish and chips. But we're asking the question, who can create the better dish? A chef with just a budget of £2.50 per portion? Or a normal with unlimited budget?
Look at the fear on this man's face stood in front of that. I think I've got this one in the bag.
What is that?
It's the Hey Arnold of fish.
Mike, how are you going to win this?
So I've tried to spend the money where it matters, and I've spent a lot of it. So I've gone full monkfish. I've got king prawns, scallop roe, squid, little things like saffron dotted in there as well. Not just because it's expensive, I'm going to try and make use of it as well. But I've got a big task ahead of me. Per portion, this comes out to £29.
Cost.
Yeah, cost.
Ebbers, you have £2.50 per portion. How are you going to do it?
Doesn't stretch far, but I've got pollock, and I'm going to do all the things we love about fish and chips. Hopefully we'll all learn something from it.
Okay, right, I've got to get out for this now, come on.
All right, boys. Well, your time starts in 3, 2, 1. Let's go fishing.
Straight off, I'm stealing flour from this side of the kitchen.
Are you paying for that flour?
Still covered ingredient. Flour, salt, pepper, absolute basics.
I'm starting by prepping my seafood, so that means deshelling these wonderful bright red carabiniero prawns, which aren't cooked, they're just this colour. Pick them because they're beautiful, they look amazing, but I'm keeping the heads on because the heads are tasty and they look cool.
But very, very expensive.
And that's why I picked them.
I think they're £7 each. Yep. Fish and chips.
Yes.
Do you prefer battered or breaded?
Battered.
Was that the correct answer? As he
Well-
chops up white bread?
Well, the thing is, some people say breaded and some people say battered, and I thought, let's do both.
Brattered.
So I'm going to batter the fish inside of bread and then pan fry it, and you're going to get this wonderful crispy deliciousness. And I'm going to take bread, crustless, and roll it out as thin as possible. Think beef Wellington,
Yep.
but instead of pastry, bread. And then instead of a fillet of beef, put a fillet of fish that's been battered, because that's sticky, and then roll it up on itself.
Yeah, but mate, honestly, I think I'm deserving of an intermediate seafood badge.
Worthy of basic if you nail it, but also not just prepping it, cooking them all to the right degree. I will give you a basic seafood badge if you nail it.
Comment below. I'm removing the poop chute. Both the I also have some really great squid here that's already prepped. Okay, so this is pretty much prepped. I'm gonna stick it back in the fridge until I need it at the end, where it's gonna be fried off really, really quickly. Oh, it's time. It's time. Using the tip of the knife, gonna pierce the skin.
I do love following trends and how things change, especially different cuts of meat. You think pig's cheek, cod's cheek, monkfish cheeks. They literally were the scraps a few years ago, and now they make it to every menu, and rightly so, because cooked right, they're delicious.
Nicely done.
So now I've got to take the head off this. So if I lift up the fin or the wing, I'm not really sure what that's called, you can cut along it like this.
In that sense, it's very similar to the baggy bit of skin on a chicken leg. When it's on a whole bird, you kind of go in the baggy skin and it just kind of finds its own natural line.
Now, there's a little soft bit there of like jellyish cartilage, and you should just be able to saw through that.
If you've ever wondered when you've seen it on the menu, monkfish tail, it sounds like it's just that bit of the fish that you're being served. It's pretty much the only bit of the fish you eat.
Because it's all head. It's basically all a head and a tail. Like there's no body.
It's basically a coin.
There's a head and a tail, yeah.
It's all head. It's like Barry.
So I've now flipped it over, and now again using the full blade of the knife to get rid of sort of this fatty belly.
I've peeled and grated up an awful lot of really big potatoes. I'm now going to season it and leave it for 5 minutes for a lot of the moisture to come out. Then I'll squeeze it dry before seasoning again.
Next, I'm using a damp cloth to pull away the skin because it gives me extra grip.
Yes, nicely done.
So the skin now is off. So now I've found the bone and I'm going down either side because that is how I get my fillets.
The fish is the most expensive part of my dish. Everything else is pretty cheap. A lot of potato, some onion that I'm going to cook down into a sweet but spicy curry sauce. And I'm also going to do a really kind of tangy sauce to go with it. Eggs aren't cheap, so we're actually going to make it a big part of the dish with the grabiche salad. I'm going to soft boil 2 eggs and hard boil 4. Maybe now's a good time to come clean. I've never prepped a whole monkfish.
Great, I'll have this one.
So I was very impressed with that.
Oh, thanks, mate. This is going into the fridge with the rest of my seafood.
Mike, talk to me about chips.
So, triple cooked chips. These are King Edward potatoes. So I'm just peeling them. Then I'm going to slice them into chip shapes. And then we're going to boil them in seasoned water.
My eggs are out. This is why we do this process, the salting and the squeezing. You don't, if that water was in your potato rosti, it'd never go crispy. So I've got loads of onion sweating down in a pan with oil, and then I'm going to add in garlic, curry powder, stock cube, raisins, and water. Bubble it for half an hour, then thicken it with corn flour and season to taste with a little squeeze of lemon.
Potatoes, usually put them in cold water, bring it up to a boil cooked. I'm blanching these, so like part cooking them, in boiling water, seasoned with salt and a glug of vinegar.
Changing pH is really important because I've done the same in my rosti mix with vinegar, but for me that's going to allow them to crisp up without gaining too much colour too quickly.
I'm making kind of a take on mushy peas using avocado, smashed peas and some mint.
So budget aside, Evers, what would be your ideal fish and chips?
Not far different on fish, a white fish of sorts, maybe a beer batter. Obviously I've just gone for a very simple batter here and then breaded. A good tartar sauce maybe, but I did mayonnaise in the last one. So I'm going to go something a little bit different here with a grabiche. Grabiche is a cold egg sauce, it's French cuisine. What I'm going to do is basically make one of those, but then chop up 4 eggs and fold through it. So it's a cross between like egg salad that you'd put in a sandwich and grabiche, so grabiche salad.
I mean, it just sounds like you've made something up.
Just because you haven't heard of it before,
Yes.
doesn't mean it's made up. It's hard-boiled egg with mustard, capers, anchovy, gherkins, garlic, oil, and the zest of a lemon, and then get blended up to a sauce.
Chips onto a tray into the freezer for 15 minutes because by cooling them right down, it means that when I come around to frying them, all the water comes out of them, so you're left with a really crispy, delicious chip. These are the ingredients for my dredge, which I'm going to coat in all of my seafood before frying it. So flour, paprika, salt, pepper. My seafood goes into the dredge, then goes into the batter, which I'm going to make in here, then goes back to the dredge, then goes in the fryer.
You're putting half a bottle of vodka and beer into your batter.
So when I go to fry my seafood in this batter, in the fryer, the vodka burns off really, really quickly, quicker than other stuff. So actually it crisps up better.
And with your unlimited budget, you decided to go for a brand of vodka called Vodka.
The double cook of my triple cooked chips, they're going into my fryer and they're getting fried off until the skin becomes nice and crispy, where I'll whip them out and I'll chuck them in at the very end when everything else is getting fried, so thrice fried. In this fryer is veg oil, but there is also 2 litres of duck fat because I had the budget and this stuff tastes amazing.
So I'm nearly there.
Yeah, me not me.
Nearly done on my potatoes, and the rosti will stay nice and crispy.
Big thick chips you got there, Evers.
Yeah. Chunky. Right, I'm going to blend my sauce.
One egg yolk, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. So I'm making a mayo, but I'm using garlic and I've steeped some saffron to add in at the end.
I haven't got any of my budget left, but the final thing is the Tupperware of surprise.
Oh, no one's ever called anything that.
Oh, where did I put it? Panic over, I know you're all really worried. So from a fish dish, I've got oregano, lemon verbena, lemon balm and fennel fronds to garnish and dress the grabiche.
You're not going to believe it. Back into the freezer.
15 minutes to go.
I want to stress, this grabiche salad is absolutely delicious as it is. Tangy and fresh and eggy and saucy and creamy and all the things you want.
Oh my.
The lemon verbena and the oregano is just me being me.
Salt.
I have to be honest, boys, if I went to the fish and chip shop and they took this long,
It's frying time. Triple cooked chips going in for a third time, then coming out being drained. In the meantime, I'm going to batter, dredge all of my seafood.
Just finishing the curry sauce with a squeeze of lemon. My breaded fish going in.
Battered fish back into the dredge. Shaking it all up, then into the fryer.
You've impressed me on the seafood badge so far, but if you overcook those £7 prawns now, it's game over.
last 20 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Step away from your fish and chips. Well done, boys. 1 plate and 1 yard long board of fish and chips. I think fish and chips.
Fish and chips. This is my take on fish and chips. Battered and breaded pollock, salt and vinegar rosti chips, curry sauce, and grabiche salad.
All for under £2.50 a portion.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That still has the complete texture of breaded and battered fish.
It's flaky.
Yeah.
That fish has really great flavour that I wasn't quite expecting.
I'm really enjoying the crispy outside of the bread and the, as expected, but the mush layer in between the flaky white fish and the crispy bread.
Bit where the fish steams and then
Yeah.
steams the inside of the batter.
Yeah, it's almost 3 layered. That is the best bit about it. You smell the vinegar straight away. Wow. That is excellent, Ebbers.
Ebbers, what you've done there is made all
That is
of
excellent.
the little chips that fall to the bottom of the bag. You've put all of them together and called it a rosti.
It's really good.
And if you want the soggy bit, if you go right in the middle, you'll find that too. So you've got your grabiche salad, anchovy, caper, gherkin, eggs, and a curry sauce.
That is delicious.
It's tartar sauce with eggs.
Right, that is like chip shop curry sauce.
He's been very, very clever. He's been such an Ebbers about this.
I know, I've been less Ebbers and more Barry, actually, if anything.
Well, Mike, you've spent the money. Have you delivered on the board?
Let's start with the monkfish.
I love monkfish, and that is the texture that I want. The crispy batter on the outside. The flaky fish in the middle is still really meaty. That's a very unique prawn. It's really, really sweet.
It does taste sweeter. It's definitely meatier.
That is yummy. The scallop is sweet, the roe is delicious, the prawn is incredible, but the chips are amazing, and you absolutely would want the freshness of the pea and mint. I don't think I'd know there's avocado in it, but it gives that wonderful colour and body and creaminess to a smashed pea. I think the whole platter is something you'd want to feast on with friends.
Now, Ebbers, before we get to the judging of the battle, Mike put himself up for a basic seafood badge. How do you think he got on?
I've sat here like a little pig and tried monkfish and scallop and prawn and the roe and the squid, and it's all delicious. And the fact that you prepped an entire monkfish, which is something none of us have ever done, hats off to you, badge awarded.
Yes.
Well done,
Thank
mate.
you. Thank you.
This puts me in an incredible predicament because over here with Ben's, we have some really, really smart hacks, but also more than just the hacks, we have some really smart flavour combinations. Whereas with you, we have an incredible platter of some very expensive and also now very delicious seafood. Great chips, great sides.
What's your catch of the day?
Mike is my winner.
Oh,
That is such an incredible platter.
Yet again, the pressure is piled on when
Yeah.
you're working with that much money in fish form. And you absolutely did it.
thank you. Thanks.
Well, that's where I've ended up, but who would your winner of the budget battle be? Comment down below, let us know.
And while you're down there, also comment for themes and dish ideas that we can tackle next time in both low budget and high budget, limited and unlimited.
Thanks for watching. Why are you down there?
Way down there. And you got tackling there as well, which is good.
Have you ever got to the end of a long day with no ideas, ingredients, or energy to cook? Takeaway? It'll be the fourth this week. Well, that's why we built our revolutionary Meal Packs app. Thousands of people are using it to shop, cook, and eat a whole lot better and easier while saving money as a result. You can go and use it in its entirety for free for a whole month and see if it's for you. The link is in the description box below. And now for the blooper.
Which part of lemon verbena and grabiche did I make up?
I've only had the blackcurrant Rabina.
Grabbing.
I've had a lemon one.
It's got to the end of such a long day. Oh.